Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're looking at a really massive collision happening right now. We're talking about the explosive intersection between AI disinformation and our own cognitive freedom. We're going to unpack some pretty profound ideas about what it actually means to think for yourself when, well, the world around you can be completely artificially generated. Okay, let's dive into this. In an era where generative AI and deepfakes can make literally anyone appear to do or say absolutely anything, who should you trust to tell you what is real? It's a huge question, right? This is the high-stakes reality of our chaotic digital landscape right now. The question of who gets to dictate reality, it isn't just a tech problem anymore. It's fundamentally about human freedom. Section 1. Foundations of Free Thought. Redefining Democracy. To really grasp the scale of this threat, we kind of need to strip away the daily politics for a second and look at the absolute baseline of what democracy actually requires to even function. The source material frames democracy not just as a system of government or, a mechanism for voting, but fundamentally as a system based on the capacity of each individual to freely judge any situation through freedom of thought. It's entirely reliant on your uncoerced individual judgment. If you take that away, the whole system just collapses. Think about it. We actually build our entire society around this exact idea. Take the age of majority, which is typically 18 years old. This social rule marks autonomous freedom of thought and the serious responsibility that comes with it. It basically means society legally recognizes that you have the freedom to make your own decisions. And because of this, an adult's judgment cannot be legitimately controlled, pressured, threatened, or blackmailed by anyone. Your mind is yours. Section 2. The Media Manipulation Evolution. Accelerating Deception. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the threat to this free judgment definitely hasn't appeared out of nowhere. It's been escalating for decades. We started with the birth of television, which brought widespread media manipulation right into the living room. Fun fact, some early televised fictional broadcasts famously caused absolute panic because audiences couldn't yet reliably distinguish structured media from reality. Then the internet came along and generalized and universalized the whole thing, rapidly mixing sound, static images, and dynamic video. But today, we've hit generative AI, and this represents a terrifying acceleration. We aren't just selectively editing facts anymore. We're seeing the creation of entirely fictitious realities from scratch. Section 3. The generative AI explosion. When reality is editable. And I really do mean explosion. The sheer volume and speed of fake content flooding our screens right now is completely unprecedented. It's chaotic. Think about the massive shift in power here. At the dawn of photography, only a handful of technical experts with clunky cameras could capture reality. Now, mobile technology allows the vast majority of us to edit, modify, and produce interpreted, fictitious, or totally false content right from our pockets. The power to manipulate reality has moved directly into the hands of the masses. And these AI generative threats are literally everywhere now. It could be a strange cloud in the sky, a totally fabricated accident on the highway, or a fictitious or even highly renowned politician saying absolutely false things. Generative technology is advancing so incredibly fast that distinguishing our actual reality from a synthetic hallucination is becoming, well, practically impossible sometimes. Section 4. The Authority Trap. The Grand Dilemma. And this brilliantly illustrates the grand dilemma we're facing. We find ourselves at a critical crossroads. Humanity basically has two diverging paths to handle this massive influx of deception. On one side, we could choose to trust a protective authority, someone who promises to guard us from these media traps, or on the other side, we can continue to trust the individual's democratic capacity to decide, regardless of the risks. The source we're analyzing today argues very, very strongly against that first option. It states that true democracy simply cannot have any form of intermediation. Inserting a middleman, even a super well-intentioned authority to curate the truth for you, actually destroys the very concept of your individual freedom to decide. Let's break down analytically exactly why trusting a central authority is a trap. First, any authority is exterior to the subject, meaning it isn't you. Because of that separation, it's inherently corruptible. It naturally has alternative interests compared to the individual person who is just trying to think and decide for themselves. And ultimately, to enforce its version of reality and protect you, it has to rely on controlling media, censorship, and restriction. Section 5. The Sovereign Mind. reason as the ultimate shield.
So, the crucial point is, if a central authority isn't the answer, what on earth is? Well, this brings us to a highly empowering, climactic solution from the text. The big idea is that thought is a profoundly private act that only manifests publicly through our actions, our words, and our attitudes. It absolutely cannot be intermediated while still preserving your freedom and the personal responsibility that stems from your actions. Your mind must remain an independent, sovereign, and entirely private domain.
Look, here's the hard truth we all just have to face. Manipulation is part of life. It always has been. No forced human system, no massive tech company, and no government agency can perfectly protect you from it in an imposed way. Each person must alone evaluate and research the information they access. Your own critical thinking, your own reason, is your ultimate and really your only true defense against all this noise. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how uncompromising the source is on this final point. Notice this quote: "Freedom of thought cannot have degrees. It either is or it is not." It's an incredibly powerful, totally binary conclusion. The moment you hand over your judgment, even just a little bit, for the sake of feeling safe, you've lost that foundational freedom entirely. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder today. In the face of ever-advancing AI deception and deepfakes all over the internet, will you surrender your judgment to an authority for the promise of safety, or will you fiercely protect your sovereign mind and rely on your own reason? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and above all, keep thinking critically.